You know that feeling when you get a brand new book? That smell of the fresh ink and paper? Well, have you ever stopped to think about the insane, high-speed journey it took just to get into your hands? We're not talking about the author's story here. We're talking about the hidden world of robotics and automation that brings that story to life. So, let's pull back the curtain.
Right. We see them everywhere. They're on our shelves, they're in bookstores, they just feel so simple and familiar. But behind every single one is this symphony of high-tech machinery. It's a dance of gears and sensors and robots all working in perfect harmony.
So, that's the big puzzle we're going to solve today. How on earth do you take a single, massive roll of paper and turn it into literally millions of perfectly identical books? It's a challenge of incredible scale, but also microscopic precision. And the answer? Well, it involves some of the most amazing manufacturing tech you've ever seen.
To figure this all out, we're going to go on a little tour. First, we'll step inside a state-of-the-art book factory. Then, we'll follow the paper as it becomes pages. We'll see how those pages get bound together, how they get that perfect, crisp finish. And finally, we'll look at the automation revolution that makes all of this happen at, well, unbelievable speeds.
Okay, so our journey starts in what the industry calls the post-press world. Think of it like this. The printing press has already baked the cake, right? It printed all the words. Now it's time for the really intricate work, the slicing, the assembling, the decorating. This is where those flat, printed sheets actually become the books and magazines we use every single day.
So first things first, we got to deal with the raw material. And I want you to imagine a roll of paper so big it would dwarf a person. The very first step is to tame that beast and turn it into these organized, folded sections that are going to become the pages of our book.
It all starts right here. And this isn't just a big roll of paper. It's a continuous sheet called a web. It gets fed into a machine that's basically a high-speed paper magician. One example is the JMD Digital Fold Line 180, and its entire job is to just wrangle this river of paper.
And here's how that magic trick works in a few lightning-fast steps. First, that web is unwound at an incredible 180 meters a minute. Then, a bunch of different mechanisms fold that web into sections. Those sections are cut with surgical precision, and finally they're stacked into what's called a book block. It's this seamless, automated flow from a giant roll to a neat stack of pages.
Now, those folded sections, they have a special name, signatures. And this is a super important word to remember. Just think of a signature as a little booklet. A book isn't made from a giant stack of single sheets of paper. No, it's built by gathering a series of these little booklets together in the right order. This idea is basically the foundation for everything that comes next.
So we have our stack of signatures, our book block, but right now it's just a loose pile of paper. The next step, and maybe the most important one, is to give it a spine. This is the binding process. This is where the book becomes a durable, single object you can actually hold.
Now, there are two main ways to do this. On the one hand, you've got perfect binding. This is what you see on most paperbacks. Imagine the signatures are stacked up, the spine edge is roughed up, kind of like with sandpaper, so the glue really sticks, and then a strong hot glue is applied to attach the cover. Then, on the other hand, you've got saddle stitching. For this, the signatures are actually nested inside each other, like Russian dolls, and then the whole thing is stapled right through the middle. Think of a magazine or a small catalog. That's saddle stitching.
For high-volume, perfect binding, you need an absolute beast of a machine. And this is it. This is JMD's Sunbridge system. This isn't just one machine, by the way. It's a fully automated production line, a river of books flowing through the factory, getting gathered, glued, and bound without a single human hand touching them.
And the speed, it's just mind-boggling. A system like this can bind up to 15,000 books every single hour. Just let that sink in for a second. That's more than 4 books every single second. It is just a blur of paper and glue, all happening with perfect precision.
But what about the other method, saddle stitching? Well, for that you need a different kind of specialist. Machines like the Rose 12,000 are built for this very specific job. They follow the same principles of high-speed automation, but they're designed to handle that delicate process of nesting signatures and stitching them with wire.
And this machine is no slouch either. The Rose system can churn out up to 12,000 stitched booklets an hour. This is the kind of wild efficiency that makes it possible to print and distribute the millions of magazines and catalogs we see every day.
Okay, so our book is bound. It's starting to look like the real thing. But we're not quite done. If you look really close at the edges of a freshly bound book, you'll see they're a little uneven. It's just a side effect of the folding process.
To get that clean, sharp, professional look, there's one last crucial cutting step.
This final haircut is done by a machine called a 3-knife trimmer. And yep, the name is pretty literal. A machine like the new T20 has 3 razor-sharp blades that slice the top, bottom, and front edge of the book all at the same time, making sure every single copy is perfectly uniform.
And the secret to that kind of precision is all the tech packed inside. I mean, we're talking about servo motors that make microscopic adjustments on the fly for different book sizes. The machine itself is built like a tank, from a single piece of metal just to eliminate any vibration. That guarantees a perfectly smooth cut. And here's the kicker. All this automation means the machine can switch between different jobs in a flash, which minimizes downtime and maximizes output.
So let's just zoom out for a second. We've seen all these individual steps, this incredible process, but they're all part of a much bigger story, the automation revolution that has completely transformed manufacturing. And the machines we've been looking at are all from one company, JMD, which is a leader in the super specialized field of post-press automation.
A building like this isn't just a corporate office. It's really a laboratory for the future of bookmaking. It's the nerve center where the next generation of faster, more precise, and more efficient machines are being designed and developed. The innovation that powers this entire industry? It starts right here.
And the numbers? They tell a really powerful story. Since 1994, they've installed thousands of machines and hundreds of full production lines. In a manufacturing giant like China, over 80% of the top printing companies rely on their systems, and their network spans more than 30 countries. This isn't some niche player. It's a global force that is literally shaping how books are made around the world.
But what's really fascinating is that building these incredible machines is a total team sport. JMD doesn't do it alone. They rely on a global supply chain, using critical components from world leaders like Siemens, Schneider Electric, and Hitachi. It's kind of like building a championship race car. You need the best engine, the best tires, and the best electronics from the best suppliers on the planet. It's a perfect example of how interconnected modern tech really is.
So, why does all this matter? What's the big takeaway from our little journey here? It's pretty simple, actually. Every efficiency, every increase in speed, every little bit of automation makes the final product, the book in your hands, cheaper and faster to produce. And that, in turn, makes knowledge and stories and ideas more accessible and affordable for all of us. It's technology in the service of humanity.
The journey from a simple roll of paper to a finished book is a hidden marvel of modern engineering. This is the technology that has defined the mass production of the printed word for our generation, putting more books in more hands than ever before. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If this is how we build the books of today, what incredible innovations will build the books of tomorrow?